by. Whenever you're ready.
Well, Arnold, not too many weeks ago, we were sitting in Dallas talking about Predator, you remember. And here we are now talking about Running Man. And at that time, I knew Running Man was coming out. And I had seen one little clip, but I really didn't have a full idea of what it was about. So last night, as I was sitting there watching The Running Man, and as it evolved and everything, I got to thinking, my gosh, they're going to be network presidents jumping out of their penthouse towers when they see this. Because I think a lot of people are going to see this as a diatribe against television.
Well, The Running Man was not really done for that purpose, you know, to do anything against network or make fun at them or whatever. Although a lot of it is today already a reality that you see in the film, that whole competition for ratings and all that. But it's just an idea that you say, okay, let's assume this is happening. Let's assume there's an economic disaster in a future time, let's say 2013 or 19 or whenever it happened, and the networks are competing against each other for ratings. The government is involved, and they are actually paying the networks in order to keep the people away from the streets, from rioting, and keep them glued to the TV set. And everyone is hooked together, government, network, and dictatorship, and economic disaster. And now what will happen with a game show like The Running Man, which is the most popular show, in order to create the highest rating? And so that's really what the purpose of this is. And then with that vehicle, entertain people, rather than making fun at the network or anything like that.
Here we have, though, quite a lot of devastation and violence going on. And again, people might look at it and see here the people, the runners, are criminals. In your case, you're a runner who has been falsely accused because you're the hero. But then we have these stalkers, and this is a way to get rid of criminals. And so some people are going to say, my gosh, you know, here is, you know, civil rights and civil liberties being just abandoned.
It is. In a movie, it is abandoned. That's why it's a movie and not reality. It's just a story, you know. You just never can forget that. But that's just, you know, I think it's a great, great concept that Stephen King came up with when he wrote his novel. And I was very, very happy that someone picked up on it and made it into a script and decided to do a film and put that much money behind it and really go all out and make it as good as possible. And when I read the novel, I said to myself, I hope someone is going to make a film, because I would like to play Ben Richards. And 2 years later, I heard about it, that it's going to be made a film, and I got the job. So I was really delighted over it.
Did you ever discuss it with Stephen King?
We talked about it many times. As a matter of fact, just before I started, I asked him for some advice, because I was not certain about certain points in the script, and because they were different from his book. And we talked about it, you know, how different it is to read a story or to see it on a screen, and how sometimes you have to make changes and all those things. And he's a very fascinating fellow, and I'm a big fan of his, you know. So,
funny too, isn't it?
He's very funny.
I've interviewed him.
Oh, yeah.
Funny man.
Very funny, and there's his great sense of humor, and loves this whole idea of shocking people with his writing, or with if they do films of his books, you know.
Again, Arnold, you're in a film here that's very physical, and again, watching the film, I kept wondering, I wonder if Arnold would really deep down like to do a quiet little film, maybe a Kramer versus Kramer, or a Terms of Endearment, or something like that, where the physicality wouldn't have to be there at all. Do you dream of doing that?
No, I never had a dream to do any of those kind of movies. I love to do the films that I do. I know that the people are entertained by those kind of films, and they enjoy seeing it, because it's just, you have to look at the box office and you know how successful those films are. So I know I'm doing something for the majority of people. I think that there are a lot of actors out there that are much more comfortable to do the Kramer versus Kramer or the Ordinary People and all those kind of films because they look physically and facially much more convincing for those kind of parts, to play an average guy off the street. I could never play that because people know me for my heroic films, and I look much more heroic because of my physical look that I bring to the screen and all that. So I play the films that I'm most believable in and that I have the best time in, and that I think everyone can enjoy.
In this movie, one of the effects that is so fantastic, and I hope, please, they give us a clip on it, the sled, or what you all refer to as the sled. Now, was that thing a practical apparatus, or was it all done with mirrors and movie magic?
Yeah, both. There was a real sled that was shot down into a tunnel, and it was filmed with cameras mounted on that sled, and this way, so we can see our facial reactions and also forward. But there was only a limited amount of distance. The rest of it was then done with special effects and also with a miniature. They built a really long miniature and sent a camera into a little tunnel and get that effect of what it is like for someone like me that is being shot through that tunnel. What experience that is, having these things come up so fast and pull your skin back and all those things. It's a frightening moment. I mean, even in reality, going through it was very frightening.
How long would that last for you?
I would say around 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That's about it, 10, 15 seconds. You travel a lot of distance in that period. It was much, much faster than any roller coaster that I have ever went through.
Pulling G-forces with
Oh,
you?
it's unbelievable. And it's scary because you know that if something happens, then, your history, because it's just too fast, the speed. But that happened a lot of times in Running Man because being followed by those wild vehicles, 6 feet behind you. I mean, there's no way this guy will be able to stop his car if I fall. And things like this happen. You fall, and the guy will run right over me with this wild teeth coming out, or this motorcycle jumping over this hill. You're standing right there where it lands, and you're supposed to just before it lands, jump away from that mark and make it look like you almost were hit. So all those things are, extremely dangerous. But you practice and rehearse and work it out with the stunt guys, and then sometimes it goes wrong and sometimes it goes right. So it's really a risky thing.
But fortunately, you're here to talk about it. That's
right,
the important
yes.
thing. Arnold, good to see you again. I always enjoy talking with you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good interview.